Right, so once you open the test, this is what you'll see. You need to answer the questions provided. You must get 100%. Remember, if you don't get 100%, you need to get 100% for all these questions. You can choose to generate and attempt another similar question in order to get your 100%. Good luck. So let's just see how that works. Just quickly to orientate you. Here's the question at the top. Here's the transaction. Here's the required. We need to select the appropriate debit and credit leg at the bottom. And we need to fill in the correct amount in the correct columns with our correct signs, plus and minus. I just want to show you what happens should you accidentally get a mistake and not get your 100%, and now you can select a similar question. So firstly, the accounting equation, assets equals owner's equity plus liability. That you should know from the accounting equation. So there we go. Let's say we forget to fill in anything else and we get that wrong and we say submit. There's a little box that pops it that says not all question parts have been answered. Are you sure you want to submit this question? You can click OK. And it's going to give us our mark. The score on the last attempt, 4 out of 6. Okay, even though we filled in nothing, a lot of the blanks is in fact correct. So assets is equal, that we got right, but we never filled in our debits and credits, and we never filled in the appropriate amounts in the correct column. Alright, so then we can say try another similar question because we have to get 100%. So let's try another similar question. Right, so here we go. The owner took money from the entity's bank account for a private function, 29,700 Rand. So to help us to determine our debit and credit leg here, what we're going to do is we're going to answer those 3 or 4 questions to determine the debit and credit. So the first one is, which 2 accounts are affected? Well, the owner took money from the business. So the business is losing money. So we definitely know that one of the accounts is going to be bank. Then, what do we call it if the owner takes money from the business? If he contributes money, we call that capital. If the owner takes money from the business, we call that drawings. Right, so let's try and classify these accounts. Now this can be a little bit tricky because drawings is on its own when it comes to the rule, but it actually forms part of equity. When you look at equity, equity is made up of capital plus incomes. Can you see capital and incomes is increasing on the same side as equity? So capital contributions and incomes is going to increase my equity. Drawings and expenses, however, is going to decrease my equity. So if my drawings increase, my equity is going to decrease. And you'll see how that works now. So drawings is an equity account. But in brackets, I'm just going to put drawings and you'll see why. Bank, we already know that's an asset because it's money that the business has that it can use to buy other assets and turn it into more money. Right, what happened to equity? If the owner takes money from the business, the owner's interest, the equity, remember equity is the owner's interest in the business, is going to decrease. All right, what happened to the drawings? The drawings actually increased. Right, so the decrease, equity decreased, but drawings increased. Good. What happened to the bank? The bank account, remember the owner took money from the business. We need to look at it from the business perspective. The business lost money, so bank is going to decrease. There we go. Now we need to use our rules. So let's do the first one, drawings. Let's try explaining this with the drawings. You'll see that my drawings increased. So let's look at the rules. Debit, expenses, assets, and drawings if they increased. My drawings increased, so that's going to be a debit. And there I put my debit for drawings. The bank account also decreased. Bank is an asset that decreases. Well, an asset that increases is going to be a debit. Debit, expenses, assets, and drawings. So if it increased, it would have been a debit. But now it's not an increase, so it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be a credit. We're going to put a credit. Right, so there's your two legs, debit and credit. Debit drawings, credit bank. So we go back to our question and we're going to say debit drawings for the debit leg, and our credit leg is going to be the account credited, going to be bank. Then these two blocks, we're just going to make them blank in order to get our full marks for the question. We need to remember to input our accounting equation, assets equals owner's equity plus liabilities. Then drawings, does it fall under assets, owner's equity, or liability? It falls under owner's equity. It's going to be a debit. Owner's equity decreased. If we go back to your questions, owner's equity decreased. Even though drawings increased, remember the accounting equation just looks at owner's equity. So if drawings increase, owner's equity is going to go down, minus 29,700 to show that owner's equity decreased. Good. Then we go to our credit leg. Remember, there can only be one debit and one credit. So our bank, what happened to bank? Bank decreased. Bank is an asset, so we're going to have to put a minus. On which sides do assets decrease? Assets decrease on the credit side. So we're going to put this on the credit side, minus 29,700. And voila, we can submit this and we'll get our 100%, and we'll do so. We'll get this little question. Remember, not all parts have been answered. That's entirely correct. You can ignore some of the blocks that do not need to be filled in. Click submit. And there we see we've got 6 out of 6. And then you can move on to the next question. I just quickly want to show you how this looks on our accounting equation here. Drawings increased by 29,700. Remember, drawings increase on the debit side. You see what happens to equity? Minus 29,700. My money in the bank decreased, so bank decreases on the credit side, right? And it need to put 29,700 on the credit side, and you'll see that my accounting equation balances. I lost 29,700, and my owner's interest also decreased. Remember, the owner took something out of the business, so the interest for him in the business has decreased by 29,700.